My name is Mateo Ventura Brewer. My pronouns are he, they. I am from Southern California. I still have all of my family there. I'm half Mexican on my dad's side, and my mom is white. So that's the kind of experience I had growing up of not really belonging in one place or the other. But Southern California is definitely a multicultural place as well. And family to me means the biological family that you have, as well as the people that raise you. Those aren't always the same thing. My mom is adopted, and we fortunately are able to know her birth parents. My birth grandmother has been involved in my life for a long time, and as long as I can remember, and I've had 3 grandmas to have growing up, which has been really cool. They're all really still involved in my life. Family also means the people that you choose. The people that I've chosen to really spend the bulk of my life with are my spouse, my husband, who we've been together for over 11 years, and I guess almost 12, yeah. And then our daughter, who's 5. So my partner and I, my husband, we've been together since I was 19 and he was 20. At the time, I was identifying as a woman. During that relationship, I realized that I was a queer woman. At the time, is how I felt. I'm bisexual, queer, gay. I feel like I check a lot of those boxes. But around, we were already together. I already knew that this was my person, and I didn't think, me realizing that I liked both genders or all genders needed to change that relationship. Obviously, we talked about it. He didn't have an issue with it or anything, and I never really felt the need to do anything with that information because I, had my spouse, I had my person. Around that same time that I was really coming to grips with my being bisexual, I also started questioning my gender. But at the time, I was just like, let's deal with one crisis at a time. So I kind of put the gender conversation and that whole process on the back burner for, 6 more years. I did experiment with kind of dressing differently, doing my hair a little bit differently, but the person I saw in the mirror wasn't that androgynous look that I was wanting. So I kind of just said, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to lean hard into the feminine and just see if that works. I wouldn't say that it didn't work, but it didn't work long term. I wouldn't say that I was necessarily unhappy. I didn't really feel much dysphoria, I think, until I was pregnant with my child. That was kind of that light bulb sort of moment. But after she was already born, I came out to my spouse as non-binary, and I remember working myself up to tell him and being nervous. And I finally told him, and I said, I think I'm non-binary. And he goes, yeah, you didn't know that? Like, he already knew. And I was like, you couldn't tell me? And then, I was kind of working with a therapist and going through the process and like, am I trans? Do I want to medically transition? And, I was really tying myself in knots about it. And he was like, if it's making you this stressed, there might be a reason, So without his support, I don't think I would have transitioned because him and our daughter, they're the most important thing. I didn't want to lose that relationship. And for a lot of people, that can make or break it. My husband has always identified as straight. After me coming out, he's like, well, maybe I'm not that straight. He cares more about the person, me, than necessarily presentation. So, la familia para mí significa la gente, or la familia biológica y también la familia que tú eliges. Ser padre es algo, es difícil, ¿no? Pero es algo muy importante. Mi hija es la persona más importante en mi vida y mi esposo también. Los dos, si no tuviera ellos, pienso que la vida no significa nada. I never leave my house without my water bottle. Right now I'm like, where is it? Separation anxiety. No, my water bottle refillable, my phone, wallet, keys. That's 4 things, but the keys, I guess it only counts if you're driving. So, from my perspective, the trans and non-binary community is misunderstood by the general public in kind of a lot of ways, but I think the most significant way and what you can really reduce all of those other things down to is we're just people. We're just people, just like everybody else. There are good people, bad people, people who make good choices, bad choices, whatever. People who you might find annoying, people who you might love, people who, work in different sectors. We're just people, and we really just want the freedom and the space to determine ourselves. And that includes, bodily autonomy for anyone when it comes to reproduction, those rights. It's all about the right to self-determination and bodily autonomy. I don't think I have a guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty about enjoying things. I think if we're talking about like something that you just can't get enough of or what you can't keep in the house, like probably tortilla chips and Chex Mix. I love Chex Mix. So I don't want to eat the whole bag.
Do you cook?
I do cook sometimes. I part of what when I was trying to get in touch with my Hispanic side, my Mexican side, and I learned Spanish in school, so I didn't learn it at home. Um, I went to my grandma and asked her to teach me, a lot of the recipes that she had, that her mom had taught her, that they had brought over. So some of the things I cook are things that she taught me how to make. So when it comes to experiencing transphobia, and that might mean like not overt, I've been fortunate to not experience aggression or violence towards me. I do, I have experienced where you're, running down the street, working out, whatever, and maybe I'm shirtless. I've got my top surgery scars. I have, noticed some looks of disgust or, confusion or whatever. But that's like two out of hundreds, but what I would really probably want to say to those people is take the time to get to know me and get to know other trans people in your life or other non-binary people. I really love that. That's been my experience. I've had coworkers who, one of my coworkers at my old job was very religious, very sweet, kind woman who always, believes in caring for others, but did feel kind of uncomfortable with the LGBTQ community in general. It just was not something she had a lot of experience, exposure to. But through getting to know me, she became one of my biggest allies and biggest supporters. She would correctly gender me when others would misgender me. She would correct my name, when I was out of the room and others would use my incorrect name. She became like such an amazing supporter because she just learned, oh, you're just a person, you're my coworker. So when it comes to the concept of passing, I think is complicated. There's what we kind of think of where walking down the street, okay, this person wants to present as male, they want to be read as male, and they are 100% of the time. But I don't think that that's necessarily how it works. I think there's gender is a spectrum, and there are the I totally understand the euphoria that might come with passing and how you've always wanted to be read as female and now you are, and it's this amazing feeling. But at the same time, when we do reduce genders or people to a narrow criteria, that criteria is often based on Eurocentric ideals, ageist ideals, ableist ideals. There's a lot like fat phobia. All of these things come into play where somebody who is cisgender might not be read that way. Or, you know, it's happened actually. Cis people have been the target of trans violence, and they're not even trans. So it's whenever we're policing people's identity and how they want to present, I think it makes it worse for everybody. But I would say that passing is still important for a lot of people. And for some people, they decide, I'm rejecting it. It, yeah, I think it's just really highly personal. Where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? I hope to see myself still in Florida. I don't begrudge anybody who has fled, but I firmly believe that we shouldn't have to leave. This shouldn't be a question of safety and Can we continue to make a living here? I know that if this brand of bigotry, it's already spreading. It's in other states too. You know, people tell me, "Oh, California, I'm going, this and that." There are pockets in California. My parents live in some of them where people are just as backwards thinking, just as reactionary, just as gender essentialist as they are here in Tallahassee. So nobody is safe until we're all safe. And I'm hoping that I continue to do this work in a way that is safe for me and my family. It was definitely scary when the bill was still including language that would potentially remove my child from me because I am trans and she's not. That thankfully was removed. But yeah, I mean, there may come a time where we have to leave. But I hope to still be doing the work and improving lives for LGBTQ people here in Florida. My hope for the next generation, it's hard. I hope that my generation, who are coming into large portions of power right now, millennials are set to, I think, becoming the largest voting bloc, or if not already, and we're trying to get elected to, official public I'm blanking on the word, but we're trying to become elected officials, and I hope that, I feel like when I was growing up, so much was pushed onto the younger generations, like the youth are going to save us. The youth shouldn't have to save us. We're supposed to be making things better for them. I think the generations before me really fell down on their job, but we can't also keep falling down on the job too. I think I would really love for us to leave a better, more sustainable world. Environmental concerns are top. If we don't have that, we're not going to have any of our other concerns if we can't get our global temperatures down. So the concept of personal pronouns, I don't say preferred pronouns because they're not preferred. It's what you should use. It's what that person uses and wants to be referred to. So it's their personal pronouns. Everybody has them. It's he, she, they, zir. There's a lot of different ones out there, but people have been using them. They've been using they longer than he in the English language. So it's really important, and I think it's just about respect, using that person's proper pronouns. And it's the same as using a nickname someone doesn't like. If someone's name is Thomas and I call them Tommy and they don't like it, I'm just being rude. I'm being disrespectful. I'm creating a hostile work environment. I'm not respecting their agency and their decision, how they want to go through the world. So using someone's pronouns, it's the same thing. And just because you may not be used to using they, them in some of your language, if someone prefers that, it is really important because they've taken the time to look into themselves and say, this is how I feel, this is what accurately reflects me. And it is hard. I went by they, them for probably 6 months or more, and it was just a battle every single day. And I gave up. I was like, just fine, just he then. He's fine, whatever. And, people shouldn't have to feel that defeated way. And you don't, honestly, if you're like, well, he or she tells me how I need to treat them, well, you should probably be treating everyone the same anyway.